If you think the chocolate in your cupboard is the same chocolate you grew up with, you'd be sadly mistaken, because some of Britain's most trusted bars aren't chocolate anymore. They're imitations wearing familiar wrappers. Because Britain didn't suddenly forget how to make good chocolate, it was quietly taught to accept less, wrapped, branded and sold as the same thing. This didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen by accident. There were no headlines, no announcements, no apologies. The wrappers stayed familiar, the logos stayed comforting, the shelves stayed full. But inside those wrappers, something fundamental changed. Cocoa content slipped, cocoa butter was replaced, sugar crept forward, vegetable fats took over, and flavor stopped coming from chocolate itself, replaced instead by engineered shortcuts designed to remind you of what chocolate used to taste like. That's why so many people feel it before they understand it. The melt feels faster, flatter, oilier. The flavor hits loud and sweet, but disappears instantly. Have any of you felt a slight burning feeling in your mouth, followed by an acidic hot feeling in your stomach? Well, you're not alone. The satisfaction never quite arrives. People say it's not as good as it used to be, and they're told it's nostalgia, or their taste buds changing, or rose-tinted memory. But memory isn't the problem, the recipe is. This is what makes the switch so effective and so dangerous. These aren't new brands you can easily avoid. These are bars that lived in our kitchen cupboards for decades. Bars parents trusted without thinking. Bars today's children still eat without question. When a product like that changes, it doesn't just change taste. It changes what people believe is normal. And the industry knows this. Cocoa solids cost money. Sugar, glucose syrup, palm oil, palm kernel oil, emulsifiers, those are cheap, easy and predictable. Swap the structure, keep the branding, and most people will never notice consciously. But their bodies notice, their appetite notices, and their blood sugar notices. Tonight we're going to walk through 5 everyday chocolate products sold across Britain that quietly crossed a line, from chocolate into chocolate-flavored coating, sugar-dominated imitations, or cost-engineered replicas of what they once were. We'll show you exactly what changed, how to spot it for yourself, and why the industry hoped you'd never stop to look. And then we'll also show you the rare exceptions you should give a go instead. The brands that refuse to cut cocoa, refuse to disguise shortcuts, and refuse to train you to accept less. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you know what real chocolate feels like again, everything else on that shelf just starts to expose itself.
Number 1. Wagon Wheels. Wagon Wheels are the perfect place to start, because even if they weren't your first pick from the snack cupboard, they always had that unmistakable real chocolate taste. The type that left you completely satisfied after just 1 or 2 bites. But now, take a bite and all you taste is the empty shell of what it once used to be, an illusion. The original feeling hasn't just drifted away, it's been drowned out completely. These aren't a chocolate biscuit anymore. Take a bite and notice what hits first. It's not cocoa, it's not richness, it's not depth. It's an aggressive sweetness that floods the mouth instantly, before your brain even has time to register flavor. That's your first clue. Real chocolate introduces itself slowly. Now flip the packet over, because the label tells a very different story to the branding. The coating is not chocolate. It's chocolate-flavored coating, a legal workaround that allows manufacturers to avoid minimum cocoa requirements. Sugar leads the ingredients. Glucose syrup follows close behind. Then come vegetable fats, palm oil, palm kernel oil, shea fat. Something they call fat-reduced cocoa powder appears near the end, doing almost none of the structural or flavor work. It's not there to build chocolate, it's there to tick a box, a token gesture to the idea of chocolate. It's not generosity, it's theater. This matters more than people realize. Cocoa butter isn't just about taste. It controls melt, slows digestion, and gives chocolate its signature body. When it's removed and replaced with cheap industrial fats, the behavior changes completely. Instead of melting cleanly at body temperature, the coating smears. It feels closer to icing than chocolate. Glossy on the outside, greasy on the fingers, shallow on the palate. The result is a fast spike, followed by a fast crash. No satisfaction, no fullness, just the urge for another hit. Nutrition researchers have been warning about this exact pattern for years. Foods built on refined sugar and industrial fats don't calm appetite, they stimulate it. They don't satisfy cravings, they extend them. That's why today, one wagon wheel never feels like enough. Not because you're greedy, but because the product is engineered to bypass the natural stopping signals real chocolate provides. This isn't chocolate fading away quietly. This is chocolate being buried under sugar, oil, and habit, and hoping you never stop to notice what replaced it.
Number 2. McVitie's Penguin. This is the one that hurts people the most, because Penguin has always been known for being in every kid's lunchbox. But it's also constant, living in office drawers, glove compartments. It was the bar you never thought to question because it had already earned your trust years ago. And that's exactly why this change is so sinister. Today's Penguin is no longer wrapped in chocolate. It's wrapped in something carefully engineered to behave enough like chocolate that most people wouldn't stop to check. The giveaway isn't hidden. It's printed clearly on the wrapper, in plain sight. Milk chocolate flavor coating. Not chocolate, not milk chocolate. A flavor coating. One extra word that quietly changes everything. Under the hood, cocoa butter, the ingredient responsible for chocolate's signature melt, has been replaced with cheaper fats like palm and palm kernel oil. These fats are more stable, more profitable, and far less expensive, but they behave completely differently in the mouth. They melt unevenly, coat the tongue, and vanish without depth. To compensate, manufacturers lean heavily on flavorings, not cocoa solids, to recreate the idea of chocolate rather than the experience of it. Turn the bar over, and the ingredient list tells the same story. Cocoa sits further down, quietly demoted. There's not even a cocoa percentage printed because there's nothing impressive to disclose. Every design choice, every formulation tweak points in one direction: cost control, not quality. And people feel that difference, even if they can't explain it. Break it, and instead of a clean snap, it bends or crumbles. Hold it between your fingers, and it doesn't melt like chocolate. It smears, almost greasy. That oily sheen isn't richness. It's a substitute doing the job cocoa butter used to do. Taste it, and the experience collapses quickly. There's a hit of sweetness, a suggestion of cocoa, then nothing, no depth, no lingering warmth. That's because the flavor isn't coming from cocoa solids anymore. It's coming from added flavoring, designed to remind you of what chocolate used to taste like. This is memory-based engineering. The recipe isn't built to nourish or satisfy. It's built to trigger recognition and move on. It took something familiar and comforting and rewrote it underneath you, betting that nostalgia would carry the difference. And for a long time, it did.
Number 3. Tesco Value Chocolate Flavor Bar. This one doesn't even pretend anymore, and that's exactly why it matters. The name proudly tells the truth. Chocolate flavor bar. Not chocolate, not milk chocolate, chocolate flavored. That single word is the quiet confession. This isn't a cheaper version of chocolate, it's a reconstruction designed to resemble it just long enough for your brain to stop asking questions. Real chocolate is defined by cocoa butter. It's the ingredient that gives chocolate its snap, its melt, its structure, its satisfaction. In the Tesco Value bar, cocoa butter is gone.
In its place is a blend of palm oil, palm kernel oil, shea fat, and emulsifiers, engineered to survive shelves, transport, heat, and time, not to deliver pleasure. Pick it up and you can feel the difference immediately. It's lighter than it should be. The surface has a dull, oily look rather than a natural cocoa sheen. Break it and there's a stretch and a bend, a soft collapse that tells you this bar was never meant to melt properly. Hold it too long and it doesn't bloom or soften like chocolate, it slumps and smears, leaving a greasy mess behind. That's not indulgence, that's formulation. And here's the part people don't think about. Cocoa butter melts just below body temperature, which is why real chocolate disappears cleanly in the mouth. The fats in this bar melt unevenly, some too fast, some too slow, leaving residue that lingers without delivering depth. The result is a strange experience. Your mouth senses richness, but your body receives none of the structure that richness implies. It feels filling for a moment, then it's gone, replaced by the urge to eat something else. That's not an accident. Products like this don't satisfy appetite, they provoke it. And because it looks like chocolate, it gets eaten casually. By kids, by tired adults, by people who think value means smaller price, not lower integrity. This bar isn't dangerous because it's cheap, it's dangerous because it impersonates something comforting while behaving like something entirely different inside the body. Tesco Value didn't just lower the price of chocolate, it removed chocolate altogether and trusted that familiarity would do the rest.
Number 4. KitKat. KitKat is the most dangerous change on this list, not because it's the worst chocolate, but because it's the easiest to miss. It's trusted by many. 4 fingers, red wrapper, break. That's the ritual. And that's exactly why the shift matters. Because KitKat didn't remove chocolate outright, they used the wafer instead. Take a bite and notice what hits first. It's not cocoa, it's sugar. Then crunch, then sweetness again. The chocolate coating isn't leading the experience anymore, it's framing it. A thin outer layer designed to coat, not to melt. Designed to hold shape, not to deliver depth. They've always been telling us to have a break, but flip the bar over and it's your heart that may break. Vegetable fats enter where cocoa butter used to dominate. Palm and palm kernel oils step in to stabilize, to reduce cost, to speed production. Cocoa content drops just low enough that the wafer can do most of the work. And that wafer is the trick. Wafer is cheap and full of air. You chew more but experience less. The bar ends before your brain registers pleasure. This is not accidental. It's a chocolate bar optimized for motion, eaten while walking, working, driving. It doesn't invite you to slow down, because slowing down would expose what's missing. Compare it to how KitKat used to behave. Older versions had a firmer snap, a slower melt, and a deeper cocoa finish that lingered after the wafer dissolved. Now it's like the wafer does most of the work. The coating softens quickly, smears slightly, and vanishes. Nestlé didn't ruin KitKat overnight. They changed it and relied on muscle memory to carry the rest. Same wrapper, same slogan, same shape, different balance. And that's why people say, it's fine, but it's not the same. They're right. KitKat didn't stop being chocolate. It stopped being the break it once was.
Number 5. Cadbury Dark Milk. This is arguably most manipulative item on the list, more than the obvious chocolate-flavored bars, because Cadbury Dark Milk isn't sold as a downgrade, it's sold as an upgrade. They utilize the term dark to its full effect. Uninformed customers associate the word dark with more premium, expensive, and health-conscious brands. Darker wrapper, moodier colors, a name that suggests depth, maturity, and a step closer to real dark chocolate. It feels like a wise choice, and that's exactly the trap. Because dark milk isn't dark chocolate at all. Real dark chocolate starts much higher in cocoa content. Even mid-range dark bars usually sit around 55–60%. Many premium dark bars go far beyond that. Cadbury Dark Milk sits far lower,
closer to milk chocolate levels, just with slightly more cocoa and a lot of marketing language doing the heavy lifting. The word dark here isn't a category, it's smoke and mirrors, it's pure marketing. The packaging does all the heavy lifting. Cadbury swaps its iconic bright purple for deeper tones, matte finishes, cleaner typography, visual cues borrowed straight from genuinely premium chocolate brands. Your brain fills in the gaps before you even taste it. You expect richness, so you perceive richness. But once the melt is gone, there's very little left behind. That hollow moment after the first few seconds, that's the missing cocoa doing exactly what it was designed to do, stay missing. This isn't about Cadbury failing, it's about Cadbury optimizing. Cocoa is expensive, milk powder and sugar are cheap. Lower the cocoa content, elevate the presentation, and you've created fools the ignorant to buy a product that feels premium without costing premium to produce. The margin improves, the price rises, the experience quietly flattens. Dark milk isn't trying to teach you what better chocolate tastes like, it's trying to convince you that it's already here, and that's why it belongs on the list. Because this bar doesn't remove chocolate outright like others, it replaces honesty with implication. It doesn't sell you less chocolate openly, it sells you the idea of more while delivering less. Now let's talk about the chocolate that's actually worth your time, the chocolate that still respects the basics. While most brands quietly cut corners, a small handful in the UK have refused to play that game. Two names still build chocolate the old way, and the difference is immediate the moment you take your first bite. Tony's Chocolonely. If most of the chocolate aisle is built on quiet shortcuts, Tony's Chocolonely exists to do the opposite, and you can feel that difference before you even take a bite. The bar doesn't snap neatly into polite little squares. It breaks unevenly, awkwardly, almost defiantly. That's not an accident, it's a signal. Tony's isn't trying to look perfect, it's trying to be honest. Pick the bar up and the weight is the first giveaway. It's dense, substantial. That weight doesn't come from fillers or clever emulsifiers. It comes from real cocoa mass and cocoa butter doing the work chocolate is supposed to do. No vegetable fat swaps, no engineered melt tricks, just cocoa, sugar, milk, ingredients that belong there, listed clearly without gymnastics or euphemisms. Then comes the taste, and this is where Tony's separates itself immediately. The flavor doesn't rush you, it doesn't hit and disappear. It opens with cocoa first, not sweetness. It melts steadily, not instantly. And it finishes with depth that lingers long enough for your body to register satisfaction. That matters because real chocolate doesn't make you want another bar 10 minutes later. It closes the loop. You eat it, you're done. And what really puts Tony's in a category of its own isn't just what's in the bar, but what's around it. The company is unusually open about its sourcing, its supply chain, and its costs. Not slogans, not vague claims, actual documentation, traceable cocoa, published commitments, transparency that invites scrutiny instead of avoiding it. You're not being asked to trust marketing, you're being shown the receipts. That honesty does come with trade-offs. Tony's is more expensive than the average bar. The portions are large and not designed for mindless snacking. But those aren't flaws, they're consequences of refusing to play the same game as the rest of the aisle. In a market built on imitation and reduction, Tony's proves that real chocolate still exists, and that when it does, you feel the difference immediately.
Green and Black's Organic. Long before ethical and organic became shelf decorations, Green and Black's was already doing the work. It didn't arrive shouting, it didn't rely on gimmicks, it earned its place slowly, the only way real chocolate ever has, through taste. From the moment you open a Green and Black's bar, it's clear this isn't designed to disappear in seconds. The aroma is deeper,
The color is darker, the snap is clean and confident, the sound of cocoa butter crystallized properly, not softened by substitutes. That snap alone tells you more than most ingredient lists ever will. The flavor profile is unapologetic. Cocoa leads, not sugar. The bitterness is intentional, controlled, and balanced, opening into a slow bloom rather than a quick hit. This is chocolate that asks you to pay attention. It doesn't chase intensity. It doesn't rush pleasure. It rewards patience, something modern confectionery has largely abandoned. What sets Green and Black's apart is consistency. While much of the industry spent decades quietly reducing cocoa, swapping fats, and smoothing flavors into sameness, this brand held its line. Organic certification wasn't dropped when margins tightened. Cocoa butter wasn't replaced when prices rose. The identity didn't get rewritten every few years to chase trends. Integrity aged better than innovation. That doesn't mean it's for everyone. For people raised on ultra-sweet, fast-melting bars, Green and Black's can feel sharp at first. The price is higher, and some newer extensions don't quite match the purity of the earliest formulations. But even with those caveats, the core remains intact. You know what you're buying, you know why it tastes the way it does, and you know nothing important has been quietly removed. Green and Black's stands as proof that chocolate doesn't need tricks to survive. It needs restraint, respect for the ingredient, and the willingness to protect what made it good in the first place. In an aisle full of compromise, that kind of consistency isn't nostalgic, it's rare.